Hi, this is a very nice day for the Netherlands because there's a company called WordProof.io, and Sebastian van der Lans is very happy because he won €1 million from the European community, and he won a prize for in the blockchain for good category. And his WordProof.io company basically makes timestamps for content, and that way you can prove that you are the original producer of the content. That's the basic idea, Sebastian. Do I basically reframe that okay?
Perfectly fine. Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for the invite, Vincent. It's really a pleasure to be here with you.
Sure. Okay. Well, we've seen that. So you won a prize, and there were 170 people who participated in a competition. Participants all over Europe, and it was a contest for blockchain for good. So and you won that prize and got $1 million. So that's really interesting. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Can you tell me how this idea works?
Yeah, right. Of course.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Was there a second part of the question?
No. Just show me how this works. I want to basically find out if a piece of content is for real. And as me as a user, we're first going to check that, and then the publisher, and I want to have my content proof that I'm the real owner and that this stuff is for real.
Perfect. And later we can go on the why and stuff like that. But what I first will show you is, hey, how do we timestamp it, and what does it look like in the front end?
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
I will send your screen to the thing. So
yeah, there you go. This is a simple page on my blog, and it's an article, and it says the 3-minute pitch we gave at the European Commission. That was in February. And on an article, there's a timestamp certificate, and everyone, if you're a web shop or a publisher, you can choose where you put it and how you put it.
This little thing called View the Content WordPress Timestamp Certificate. Okay, that's a very everybody will remember that, but okay, but that is your dream, that everywhere on important stuff there is a little thing like that and a little logo like that, and if I click on it, what happens then?
What happens then? You see a timestamp certificate. The first green dot explains what it is you're looking at, because 85% of all Europeans said in the Ipsos research that they support education on fake news. So here we do some education on, hey, what are you looking at? How can you verify yourself what you're looking at?
Yeah.
And here you can see how the content in this case changed over time. Because, for example, on nu.nl or The Guardian, you can see, hey, this article changed 2 hours ago. Then you could say, wow, that's transparent, great. Now I know that it changed 2 hours ago. But you could be suspicious too. What was there 2 hours ago that I'm not allowed to see anymore? Okay. So what we do here with the time machine is, phone call, and it's gone. What you can do here with the time machine is say, hey, this was the first timestamp. This is the most recent version of the article. Everything red disappeared and everything green is new. And you can see all versions. So imagine being a journalist, you can say, hey,
we know that from Microsoft Word, and we can see the different versions and the different types. So that's nice. But this is, of course, this could be a plugin in a blog, but now you're guaranteeing this a little bit. So how do I know that this is really true, that this article was really written on this time and this date, and how can I verify that?
Yeah, so what you can do here is you have a timestamp. You can say, hey, I want to have the raw input. So there's raw input here.
Yeah.
In a JSON file. Then I can view on the blockchain. This is a new tab. You can see it, right?
Yeah.
So this is the hash of the raw input.
Yeah.
So The
Yeah,
raw input leads to the
and hash, for people who don't know that, you basically have a document, something, and then there's a little algorithm which makes sort of a signature of that article at that moment, and that basically is put on this blockchain. Which one is this? EOS or something?
This is EOS. Soon we will add Ethereum. Maybe we will add Bitcoin. So you have multiple choices on where to timestamp the content. And from that moment, at the moment of the blockchain transaction, you can prove that the content at least existed. Then the next step will be, hey, who is the address? Who is the blockchain account that timestamped it? So for example, there's content that impacts my voting behavior, or content that impacts my health. So I want to know that it comes from a doctor. The next step will be that, for example, the Erasmus University will say, hey, here's the certificate of the doctor. We provide her with a certificate. Hey, you're a master in health, and it's in her blockchain account. So I can verify myself in a fully open source way that I'm really reading information from a doctor or a politician.
Okay, so that goes. So one thing is at this time, at this date, this content came, it is changed, and the third thing is who's this identity? Who's this person who basically wrote that, and that's already in it, or that's coming?
Blockchain identity is quite a new field. So we're doing an experiment at the moment, for example, with authentication with LinkedIn, because we say, hey, LinkedIn, at least on Facebook, you can be anonymous or working with a fake name. On LinkedIn, that's harder. So we're working on prototypes, but blockchain identity is really a fresh field.
It's a beautiful, beautiful new field. So that's really, I can totally imagine that. Okay, so that basically gave you the price. How long ago have you started this company?
The company, we officially registered it in May last year. I started working on it in December 2018. 2019, I did it full time, and we're with a team of 3 by May, April last year, and now we're with a team of 6 full time.
Okay, wonderful. So if I want to use this as a publisher, I can use it for free. I can see this.
The easy thing is we started with WordPress. So 37% of the web utilizes the software WordPress. My background is in WordPress. So we started with a WordPress plugin, and these are the plans. So there's a free plan. You can use it without a plan, without our software as a service solution. As a fully open source solution, some people do that. Could be a bit of a hassle with blockchain wallet stuff. For us in the blockchain space, it's easy, but for journalists, it's nice if there's a service which automates it for them.
Yeah. So for $20, I can publish 250 articles once, or I can publish 25 articles with 10 timestamps, then different changes. Because every time I make a change, I have to basically use another timestamp. So it is about 8 cents. And if you have bigger programs, does it go down to what is the minimum price for a timestamp?
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the blockchain you work with, but it's literally some cents. So to give you an idea, the biggest title, a new.nl, they maybe do, let me guess, 15,000 to 20,000 articles or changes in a month. It would cost them less than 1,000 a month.
Okay, but you can use it if you're an amateur. You can use it for free, and you can already do a bunch of articles for that kind of money. What is the copyright claim helper tool? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a nice one. We started with we are a startup, so we have the technology. I'm a technologist by heart, so I thought, hey, we bring the blockchain technology to everyone, and we thought, okay, what is the problem we're fixing? One of the easy problems happens a lot on the web is plagiarism, copyright disputes. There goes my line. And friends of mine, they have a studio. It's called Blom and Blom. They make a lot of creative work, lamps, but they have a web shop. But their content is wonderful. They spend hours and hours to just make the.
Their website. You have it? Don't you have it there somewhere?
Because I have here.
Yeah, so any kind of design, any kind of picture, any kind of article, anything can be protected with a timestamp. But then how strong is that protection? That's of course what we want to see in the end, because we started it with it.
Can you show my screen? Yeah, perfect. So this is a web shop. Bloom & Bloom, they're really about aesthetics. They said, we don't want to show the certificate. We have 2 or 3 times a month that people steal our content. They put it on eBay. They sell ugly copies from our products made on the other side of the world. But we don't have the money to hire a lawyer to help us there, because the archiving costs a lot of time, but also the lawyer writing letters costs a lot of time and money.
Sure.
So what we said, what we do is we have the copyright tool. So all this content, all those projects are timestamped on the background. And with the copyright claim helper, it's literally you say, hey, I have this eBay article or advertising. It's that copies this product. That's what you do in my WordProof. Create letter, literally, and you have the PDF in one mouse click. And you send it to eBay. And in their case, every time they did it, that was 4 times in the last months, they took it down in less than 1 hour, because you get a certificate, you get the proof with links to the blockchain explorers. It's quite an impressive document. There's a lot of discussion in the Netherlands, but also in other countries, how valid or how valuable is a blockchain timestamp. Every time it's okay, it's indisputable proof, as long as it's on a big blockchain, that at least the content existed in that moment of time. Not that you are the one who made it, but when you are the first one who published it, it makes sense. And for them, it was really successful.
So that's nice. And of course, you want this method to become a standard. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about your background, as how this company came ahead of me, because you had at one point you come from the WordPress world, right? And you had this I think I saw this GDPR plugin from WordPress, and that's also something which you wrote too, right? I mean, what did this product do?
Yeah, so my background is a WordPress agency. The agency is Amsterdam-based in Amsterdam with 25 developers. We started that 12 and a half years ago. The market share of WordPress was around 6 or 7% by then. Today it's 37%. We were really early. And we worked for publishers, big shops, blah, blah. And what we learned, I always carried the wish to do a big plugin work. And what we saw was, hey, GDPR was coming. Every entrepreneur, every organization hated GDPR. But I loved it in a way, because the inhabitants of Europe, they're not aware enough or educated enough to take care of their own privacy. So why not make organizations responsible for it? Of course, nobody wanted to pay for GDPR because it's not productive. It costs you money. It doesn't earn you extra money in most cases. So we thought, okay, everybody hates to pay for GDPR. We like GDPR in a way. Why not make a free open source plugin for it? So that's exactly what we did. And it ended up being downloaded over 1.3 million times. It has over 100,000 active users. And the thing is, every technology company has problems with hiring talent. But since we made this plugin, it's kind of a public resume. You're working on code that's actively being used on over 100,000 websites. Every developer thinks that's cool to work on something like that. And also the customers, they ask us, GDPR, how do you have it covered? We say, we have a plugin running on 100K sites. And it's for free, by the way.
Yeah, it's nice. You have a bunch of customers you work with, but now there's much more people who are using your plugin than you ever could dream of. So it's nice to give something back. But now here you have a very clear business model. This is really, every timestamp costs money, and the timestamp depends on how many you do, but it starts somewhere at 25 cents per timestamp. You get some bonus one, and it goes down to 10 cents or 8 cents, and it goes down to cents thing. How can this way of working become a standard? Because if you're a wonderful company, you got $1 million, fine. But I mean, this is a huge problem, and this needs to be an open standard, and we need, search engines to basically help us to see what's real and what's not real. How do you see
Absolutely.
that?
Yeah, great question. Thanks. You don't pay for the timestamps itself. What you can do, how we started, was just from your blockchain wallet in Ethereum and Bitcoin, you pay a little fee for every transaction. In EOS, in the case we started with EOS because they have the half-second block time that really matters for publishers. They need it fast. You need to stake some tokens, and with that token staked, you have access to resources. You can use WordProof without using our Stamp for You service. You can do it totally from A to Z from your blockchain wallet for free with the WordProof plugin. The publishers, they say, hey, it's too hard to explain my journalists how to work with blockchain wallets. Can't you timestamp on our behalf without losing decentralization? There are solutions for that. And that's where we made the timestamp service for. In that case, you pay for us doing it automatically for you. But it's not, there's no token economics behind it. There's no speculation. There's no possibility for speculation. The only speculation you can do is buying shares of the company, but they're not for sale. So the standard is open. The WordProof timestamp standard, it's just on our GitHub. Everyone can use it. What we do is we integrate with schema.org. That's the way that search engines parse the data to see, hey, Vincent is not just a word, but it's your first name. In that way, we're teaming up with people from the search engine optimization world to make sure that we can offer not only timestamp certificates to human, but also the timestamps to search engines and social media.
Okay, so the idea is that you have an open standard which everybody accepts. Everybody can use it, but just the way how you implement it and how you give services to publishers, that's when I have to pay extra. But in general, everybody can make the standards, contribute to it, and it can be bigger. I mean, Google and other people could accept it as a standard with this schema.org, so that later when I'm on Google, I will type in something and I can see what's real and what's timestamped and what's not timestamped by a reliable standard. That's the idea.
That's the ultimate goal. And one step further, you can choose as a sender of information how far you want to identify yourself. So you can say, hey, I want to be anonymous. For example, fake news. What is fake news? And should it be there? In my opinion, every content should have the possibility to be online. Otherwise, you're talking about censorship. But the really danger with content is if just an opinion or trolling or whatever, if that goes mainstream, that's where the risk is. Yeah. So what you could do is make a kind of tier levels with identities. You could say not identified at all. Then you have full-fledged government identity and everything in between. Maybe Twitter, where you still can be anonymous. Maybe LinkedIn, where you can't be so anonymous. And you say, hey, information in social media can just spread across your own friends if it's not timestamped, or if it's timestamped anonymously. If it is timestamped with Twitter, you could say it's friends of friends. If it's LinkedIn, friends of friends of friends. If it's full-fledged government, it's for everyone. So you could do in that way, you can avoid spreading the trolling or just an opinion.
They say, hey, this information, what's the reputation behind it? It's totally clear, or at least I can get in contact with it because it's a Twitter account with this or that. So Willeke says it's wonderful. Well, John, so that's good. And do I need to be an entrepreneur? No, everybody can basically.
Everyone can do it.
Free tool, and if you want to get a little bit under the hood, you can use the whole stuff for free, but then you have to write a bunch of stuff yourself. But there's a free tool for 10 timestamps a month, right? But then you cannot claim copyright, and there's a whole bunch of other services. So that's the idea. Okay, so this is really interesting. This is a wonderful wonderful way to use that. And you're using schema.org. And what is one of the other partners which are really important for these search engines to be a partner of, to say, is information reliable? Can you mention, there's another Dutch company or a guy who started it from a Dutch guy who started an important company. What's the name of it?
Yeah, there's a tool for search engines. The tool is called Yoast SEO. Everyone who uses WordPress, they know Yoast. What they do, they are really legends in search engine optimization. Their tool runs on over 10 million websites, and they help you to optimize your content for SEO. But what they also did was doing the integration between all those WordPress websites and schema.org in a way that Google can parse the site. What we are working on with the guys who did this at Yoast is making sure that we can offer the timestamps to search engines as well, which is an elemental part of getting the timestamps recognized by search engines and social media. And that's the nice thing of the open source ecosystem. People from that company to say, hey, we know that this is an important way to fix the broken web. And that's why we contribute our time. And I can imagine that we partner with a company like this in a bigger way. But for now, we work with...
They're already on 10 million websites. And they're Dutch. They're located in Wijchen, where I lived. I lived in Wijchen, a little place. So I feel immediately at home with these guys. So that's a really nice Dutch company where software is used all over the world, and you basically also work with them to make sure this becomes a standard, an open standard which everybody can prove, and therefore we can make the web a little bit more reliable. And it's a very nice, simple way to use blockchain. I mean, it's the most elementary way to use a blockchain, and the hash, and to put it on the blockchain, and to verify if it's true. Whole services around it. You've learned from your previous GDPR product that you also need a business model, and the business model is now very clear. So that's and still you are also open standard. So wonderful that you got it right.
Yeah, the nice thing is in 1991 already, blockchain was invented by Stuart Haber and Scott Sternetta. They had a white paper on timestamping documents with blockchain. And in the Bitcoin white paper, they refer to that white paper. So literally what we do is we try to excel in the first use case on blockchain. So we just...
I always thought that timestamping, you always have two things, timestamping and tracking and tracing. Those are the first two things on, and then further a payment system. But this is very, very simple. Okay, two more little questions. I have no clue what she says. Why is the HTTP requested for a private person? What does that mean?
Hit me up on Twitter with the question, and I'll...
For the rest, she says... But that says veelbelovend, the Dutch compliment. So that's wonderful. Okay, Sebastian.
Well, what we do soon, we launch it in 1 month, is the WordProof Academy. So it's not WordProof, but it's really about what is timestamping, really in how we would say Jip and Janneke taal, layman's terms.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so thank you very much for the question. And Sebastian, good luck. I hope you're going to have a drink to basically celebrate your $1 million prize. €1 million prize out of 175 blockchain for good applications. I want to have that page. Can you send me the page about these other 175 other way? Because I didn't know that this whole competition existed. Did you see other interesting applications? Because I'm really interested to see if there's other people. You're number one, you got the best. But did you see other interesting applications and that blockchain good competition?
From the winners, there's one from Oxfam Novib. They did a kind of a cash app for places for inclusivity in finance. Then there was Kleros. I really like the Kleros. They do arbitration in e-commerce cases in a decentralized way. There were a lot of track and trace stuff, but Kleros was one of my favorites, and Oxfam Novib was one of my favorites because they did so well on UX, the Oxfam case. Because that's from the start of our company, half of my team was UX, and that's the foundation of my company. Because blockchain doesn't have a technology problem; it has a UX problem. So that's what we're fixing.
Okay, so that is really. So what's the next step? I mean, you have still this WordPress agency. Are you still working on that, or is that now definitely the second thing you're going to do?
No, luckily I founded the WordPress agency with Robert van Eekhout 13 years ago, in October 13 years ago. So he runs the old agency, the agency, and I do the innovation projects. And this one escalated to a full company more than a year ago. So I worked full time on WordProof, 60 to 70 hours, and my co-founder works on the agency funnels.
Okay. Well, I think this really. So this is the link to the European thing. It's very interesting. Extremely bad website. It looks
And
really.
it's not time stamped. For what happened here, we were pressing F5 every hour, every day to see when the prices were rewarded, because officially they should have done that in March. Wouldn't it be great if you could have the time machine on at least every government site, so you could see where the changes are and follow it on a decentralized way?
Yeah. Okay. Well, wonderful. That is. I hope you have a nice drink together with the whole crew and enjoy your prize, because I definitely think you completely deserve it. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Bye.